And tonight I strike the trail, and the morning sun will find me in that lovely Lomond Vale, as we hike it through Glendarroch, where the mountain breezes blow, and we drum up in the evening in the valley of Glencoe. Then swing along to a hiking song on the highway winding west, tramping Highland glens and bracken bends to greet the isle we love the best. To greet the isle we love the best.
Hey! My God, eh? Oh, dear. Oh, thank you. What a lovely crowd we've got tonight, eh? After that beautiful summer we had, it was nice, wasn't it, eh? My God, even Maggie Thatcher had her eyes open, didn't it? Eh? Well, we mustn't laugh at Maggie because, I mean, she does the work of two men. Laurel and Hardy. Listen, this... She said we're coming out of the common market, you know. She said if the French don't buy our lambs, we'll no buy their letters. Look at this, eh? You want to know what dragged me down to this? I used to support the Hibs, you know. Remember? Here, listen, here. I used to be in the ministry, you know. See my hat? I was in the Ministry of Social Security, you know. No, I used to save bad women for my pals, and this... I used to convert them, you know. I mean, I picked up this loose woman, you know, and her legs fell off, and this... No, wait. Well, I converted her. Not invert, converted her, I did. Oh, I gave her a sermon on the mount, and this... She said, if this leaks out, I'm ruined. I said, well, it didn't leak out, I'm bloody ruined. I said, come here. It's a hard game, isn't it? I walked into this bar, honestly. I did, and it was a beautiful, beautiful barmaid there, a big store, I love it, you know. Oh, she said, what you having? I said, mine's a large one. She said, do you drink now? Are you bragging? I said, are you having one? She said, no, it's just a tight overall. She said, no. Oh, gee, a bird. There was a lovely girl standing beside her, a big stoat. She was a real sexy bird, you know. And she looked up at me, you know, sad. I said, what's wrong with you? She said, I've just been to the doctor, and he says I'm a nymphomaniac. I said, who are you taking for it? She said, oh, she said, whenever I take alcohol, she says, I want to make love to the nearest man. And I said, what are you having? Oh, you mother. And there was a fella sitting in the corner, he just had one ear, this fella. I felt kind of sorry for him, you know. I said, would you like a pint? He said, I've got one ear, so I didn't buy one. And this... That's... Oh. This... No, it's not enough. See, there was a fella sitting with a bald head, you know. No sitting on it, he was sitting with one, you know. And he said to me, he says, you all right, you can get a bird, you've got hair. He said, look at me, the birds will not look at me. He said, I've got bald. I said, well, why don't you get a transplant? He said, I'd look fine with a kidney in my head. See, and I met my pal, my big pal, you know. He said, how's the wife? I said, better than nothing. He said, you're getting in there on the side. I said, I'm not getting in the bloody tubers. I said, it's been that long, I forget what ailment's under. He said, look. He said, look. Come down with me to the strip club. You want to see the birds down there? I said, I've never been in there before. And I went down to the strip club, and right enough, it was beautiful. Oh, they had 3 topless girls on, you know, playing accordions. And that was a scream from start to finish. And they had this midget stripper on. She was a small teaser, you know. And this girl come on in the nude only. She was painted in gold paint all over, you know. It was a novelty dance, you know. All the boys were waiting for the novelty to wear off, but except our manager. There was oh, it's great. There was a big blonde come on. She was acrobatic, you know, whatever that means. She was an acrobat. And she did the splits over half a melon, you know. And for a non-course, she came back and picked up the seeds. And this... It's great. It's really great, it was, you know. And when somebody shouted, "Fire!" Oh, she fired, fire. And I went on the phone, I phoned up the fire brigade and the fireman. I said, "There's a fire down at a strip club." And the fireman got there in 2 minutes, you know. The fire engine took 10. But we were all excited. We're all excited, you see. We were running out and my pal said, "I've left my hat." I said, "You have not, it's hanging up in your lap." And we went. We just went back to the pub. We got a nice night in the pub, you know. Oh, it was rare, you know. You got a lovely night in the pub. I was playing the pinball machine, you know. And every time I put a ball up, it went to tilt. And I said to this girl, I said, "Hey, look at that. Look, it's going to tilt." She said, "You'd tilt there if you had 5 balls. Listen, this... It's amazing the people you see in a pub, you know. Come into the pub. There was a blind man come in with his guide dog, you know. And I was watching the dog, and all of a sudden it cocked its leg and peed on his leg, you know. And the next thing I saw, he was clamping it like that. I said, "What are you clamping it for?" I said, "It just peed in your leg." He said, "I'm just trying to find out which end it's earth is." That sounded like a Oh, it's amazing. Salvation Army girl come in, she was shouting away, "War cry, war cry." I said, "What's a war cry?" She said, "Tongues, you boss." Oh, it's... You never know who's going to... There's a nun came in. A nun, you know. And I thought, this is it now, you know. And she went up at the bar, she said to the barman, "Give me a double gin, please. It's for the Mother Superior's constipation." I thought, I've not heard of that, you know. And she whipped us down her cell. And she had about 4 or 5 double gins. I said, "I thought you said that was for the Mother Superior's constipation." She says, "Aye, when she sees me tonight, she'll shit herself." Come here, let's be... There's a big... Oh. There's a big blonde kept annoying me all night. This big blonde, you know. Oh, I'd finish up, I said to her, "Scram, bitch." She said, "Oh, a Russian, eh?" There was a big Russian there, as a matter of fact. I know because he spoke to me.
He said, "Where can I get a woman, huh? I must have a woman."
I said, "See that big blonde there?" I said, "Buy her a couple of vodka, she'll take you up the stairs, 2 minutes, bang, bang, no bother." And he understood me, you know. Because he was a spy, you know. No, he was an undercover agent, you know. I'd eaten beans the night before and blew his cover. And then he said, "Oh, she." And he bought a couple of vodkas and she said, "All right, sir, I'll see you all right. Come up the stairs in 2 minutes." They went up there and she was stripped off, naked, not a stitch on, you know. And he walked up to her and he lifted her arm like that.
He said, "What did you say? No wool, eh? No wool." He lifted her arm and said, "What did you say? No wool, eh?" What is this, noble?
She said, what, you want, a leg over or a pullover? Yeah, minute, eh? Oh, minute. This sex is some game, innit, eh? Oh, yeah. So sex. My wife didn't believe in sex before marriage. Come to think of it, she didn't believe in it after it, you know? There's more to marriage than sex, I hope I'll live long enough to find out what it is. But being married by the Bible, that's something, you know what I mean? No.
Oh, married by the Bible, divorced by the law. Every day it's more and more the worst I ever saw. Things have changed, they're not the same since the days of mournful, when they were married by the Bible, divorced by the law.
My father and my mother came walking down the aisle. I was walking with them, made the vicar smile. My father found out later the reason he was ill. While she was taking aspirin, he was on the pill. Oh, married by the Bible, divorced by the law. Every day it's more and more the worst I ever saw. Things have changed and not the same since the days of Montfort, when they were married by the Bible, divorced by the law. My father was a blue nose, my mother was a Tim. She said I should follow her, and he said follow him. I finished up an altar boy with a candle in each hand, but every time July comes round, I play in the orange band. Oh, married by the Bible, divorced by the law. Every day it's more and more the worst I ever saw. Things have changed and not the same since the days of Montfort, when they were married by the Bible, no divorces by the law. Hey, hey! Oh, my God. I love it. What a lovely crowd we've got tonight. It's really, and you see, you're a ton at me because I haven't been kept well. I was worse than that. Really. Honestly, I mean, I've been up all night with a sick friend's wife. I went in, I was like that, doctor, you know, I was like that. He said, that's too much sex that's wrong with you. He said, from now on, he said, just have sex with your wife. He said, I don't want to get excited. He said, I said, I'm worried about my memories, I forget it. He said, have you flu? I said, no, I came on my bike. And, he gave me a thorough examination. Oh, very thorough. He said, if you were alive, you'd be a very sick man. He said, I wouldn't buy any LPs anyway, if I were you. He said, I'll give you 3 minutes to live. I said, what can I do in 3 minutes? He said, boil an egg. Well, it's amazing to see when you're sitting the doctor. It's amazing that people come in, the nurse come up, she said, doctor, see that man you gave a clean bill of health to? He said, yes. She said, he's just dropped dead outside the door. What'll I do? He said, turn him round about, I think he's coming in. So, there was a woman come in and she said, doctor, did I leave my knickers here? She never left them here. She said, I must have left them at the dentist. And she was in for a filling, you know. And that's... Another woman came in. She said, doctor, it's my ovaries. I said, what? She says, my ovaries. He said, you mean your ovaries? She knows my average. And the examiner said, you're right enough, it is your average. Been a coke or two up there. Listen, here. This big Irish fella come in. This big guy, a big simple fella. He took his bonnet off, you know. And there's a big frog on the top of his head. A frog on the top of his head. And the doctor said, what's your problem? And the frog said, well, you get this water off my earth. That's amazing. A woman came in, she said, Doctor, I want to go on a pill, I want a pill. I said, what have you been doing up to now? She said, I've been using the biscuit tin method. I said, what the hell is a biscuit tin method? She said, my man is much shorter than me, she said, and when we have sex, he's got to stand in a biscuit tin. She said, how does that help? I said, well, I just want to look, and when I see his eyes going, I kick the tin away. See, better than a pill anytime, eh? Well, people are going daft now, you know. It's far too fast, this life. That's the trouble. You see, my uncle there, he put him in an asylum for biting his nails, you know. He was a giner. But they're daft. It's a big queue. It's a big queue at the asylum there last week, yeah. Big queue. And this fella got up to the front of the queue and he said, Doctor, I'm Napoleon. And the doctor said, who told you you're Napoleon? He said, God did. And the boy at the back said, I did not. And the doctor said, pay no attention to him. I think he's sitting divine. He said, oh, it's amazing how people go into hospital. A fellow went in for a heart transplant. He said, doctor, he said, you can give me anybody's heart. He said, but I don't want a black man's heart, he said. The doctor said, you'll just have to take what comes up, you know? And he came out of the anesthesia. The doctor said, I've got good news and bad news for you. He said, well, give me the bad news first. He said, well, if I had to give you a black man's heart. He said, I thought that. He said, what's the good news? He said, your ding-a-ling's 3 inches longer. See, that's... Me. Well, the old joker was in the hospital. In the morning, he came with his breakfast and they offered him soup. He said, I don't want soup. This time I went, no, I don't want soup. Lunchtime, he brought the soup back again. He said, I don't want soup. I don't like soup. He said, I don't want it. Supper time, up came the soup again. He said, no, I don't want it. I've told you. He said, don't like soup at all. Forget it. And they waked him up at 3 in the morning and gave him an enema. Next morning, his pal came in. He said, what's it like here? He said, what's it like? He said, if you're ever in here, he said, take the soup. He says, if you don't, you'll wake you up during the night and stick it up your ass. Listen, It's amazing, eh? What about she? Listen, here, this fella, he went to the doctor. He said, Doctor, he said, my wife and I were not going on too well. He said, the sex has been deteriorating for the last 10 years. Could you give me something for it, you know? And the doctor said, well, there's some tablets. He said, give me to the wife. He said, stick one in a coffee when she's not looking, you know? And he went back and he just watched it into the coffee. And he said, I'll give myself one just for good measure. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, she was shouting, I want a man, I want a man. And he said, me too, me too. I'm laughing, you get a laugh, eh? I don't know. Sometimes I wish I'd been a pop singer or something like that. I went about a tragedy, you know. We see that, there's some great songs out there now, you know that. Love on the Rocks, Say the Hurt Your Bum. I like that one. Eh? I like some of the old ones. I like Doris Day. Remember Doris Day? Oh, she was a singer, wasn't she? She used to sing that one. When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what is a kiss? My mother said, when you kiss a girl, you will find heavenly bliss. Where shall I kiss her, mother dear? On the veranda or the settee? Or shall I kiss her just where she sits? Here's what she said to me. Kiss her ass, What? She was good, eh? Mind you, I like Elvis, too. Elvis was good, eh? Remember Elvis? You used to get him swooning, you know.
When no one else can understand me, I know I can depend on you. I know you really didn't mean it when you put paraquat in the stew. And when I was lying at death's door, you tried to pull me through. That's the wonder of you. Mascara brings out all your beauty and all the wrinkles underneath. A little rouge brings out your cheeks, dear. A little sneeze brings out your teeth. You've got the strangest eyes. Though one is brown, the other two are blue. That's the wonder of you. Yes, your face, it is your fortune. That is why you're on the brew. That's the wonder of you.
That's the biggest dose of claps I've had for a long time. They're really nice. A nice crowd today. No, I go home early. You see, and if I go home early, the wife thinks I'm after something, you know. Go home late, she thinks I've had it. Man, I'm not saying my wife's frigid or anything like that, you know. She opens her legs, a wee light comes on. She gets obscene calls for Eskimos, you know. She's got to hang a chalk round her neck to get a duck to play with her, you know. All the time. She's had her face lifted that many times when she raises her eyebrows, she pulls up her stockings, you know. She had to start shaving. Ah, well, it didn't matter anyway, but listen. When my wife was born, the doctor slapped her mother. And her mother's worse than her. She's stupid, you know. You know the kind. She comes out of the shower to have a pee. Right, stupid, you know. She said to me, Mama, she said to me, she said, look, she said, why can't you be like that fella next door? There's a man without a peer. I said, he must have got a shot off during the war ends. She said, he's a fighting man. I said, I come from a fighting family. I said, my mother and father were out fighting. She said, who was your father? I said, that's what I'm bloody fighting about. I was a hero during the war, you know. I was 5 years in the Army and Navy stores. And I was in the Pioneer Corps, they kicked me out. They said I was rotten to the core, you know. I was in toilet duty that often. They were calling me Flush Gordon. I'll never forget when I went for my medical. There was a big queue, you stand there with nothing on. You feel embarrassed, you know. And then when I got up at the front of the queue, I was stunned like that, you know. The doctor said, "Who sent you, the enemy?" He said, "Take your hand away from there." And I took my hand away. He said, "You should be proud of one like that." I said, "Me?" I said, "That's a fella behind me." I said, see when that fella got up the front, the doctor couldn't believe it. He said, "I've been in this game for years, son." He said, "I've never seen one as big as that." He said, "It's like a spaceship." He said, "How's your wife feel about it?" He said, "Oh, she's over the moon." See, and there was a wee poof there too, a wee poof, you know. He said to me, he said, "Do you know Nancy Brown?" I said, "Now what's his first name?" No, he bent over backwards to please the doctor, you know. The doctor said to me, he said, "Could you kill a man?" He said, "Eventually." He said, "What would you do if you saw a German raping your sister?" He said, "I'd get in between them." What a game that was in the army, eh? Maybe 3 of us went on a leave. We were all late coming back. We were all up before the commanding officer the next day, and Big Willie went in first. And CO said, "Well, why were you late?" He said, "Well, no," he said, "the train was late," he said. He said, "We couldn't get a taxi." And he said, "I jumped on an old horse, and halfway out of the camp, the horse dropped dead, and I had to walk the rest, and that's why I was late." And we Geordie, he went in next, you know. Same story, you know. He said, "Train was late." He said, "Well," he said, "I couldn't get a taxi." He said, "I jumped on an old horse, and halfway out of the camp, the horse dropped dead, and I had to walk the rest." CO said, "Stand over there." And I went in, see. He said, "What's your excuse?" I said, "Well, see, the train was late." He said, "No," he said, "and you couldn't get a taxi, and you jumped." I said, "No, I got a taxi all right." He said, "Well, why were you late?" I said, "I couldn't get up the street for bloody dead horses." I was posted in the Middle East, you know. Over in Cairo there, with all these lovely bints over there, you know. You see, any of the old fellas here been in Cairo? Eh? Has he been there, has he? The Sharia, El Berka and all that, eh? We down there, way. The donkey's dead, by the way. And this... And anyway... I was standing in the corner one day. This big wall come up and said, "Dirty postcard, dirty postcard." I said, "Sure, how many do you want?" This bird came up to me, she said, "Would you like something different, eh?" I said, "What you got, leprosy?" Well, see, in Middle East, you know, there was over 500 disorderly houses in Cairo, you know that? And I'm proud to say I never was in one of them. I forget which one it was. But... well, we're in the desert, you know, it's murder out there. When we were out in patrol one day, we came across this woman. She was buried up there in the sand, you know, and she was singing away, "Oh, I do like to be in the..." This reminded me of the wife when we used to go down to Port Seaton there. We used to dig a hole and we would bury her in the sand and that, you know. Must go back and dig her up sometime. And anyway, this girl's that, you know. And she said, see me, see me, see me. I said, look, if I save you, what's in it for me? She said, sand. But it was neat. There no women out there. I said, Sergeant, what about women? He said, no women here. He said, if you feel that way inclined, he said, they send 300 female camels every week. He said, you ever had a camel? I said, no, I've had a few McDonald's, I said. Right enough, on a Saturday, a big shouting up, the camels are coming! And they're all running like hell. And I said, this wee fella, I said, hey, what are you running for? There's 300 there. He said, you want to get a good looking one, don't you? I said, what about the male camels? He said, we castrate them. He said, I said, how do you do that? He said, somebody lifts its tail and you get 2 bricks and you go like that. I said, that must be very sore. He says, no, if you watch your thumbs. He said. It's hand being lost in the desert. You've been lost in the desert. I was crawling along one day, it was lost, completely lost, and I got over this sand dune, and there was an Eskimo on a sledge. I said, you get any water? I'm lost. He said, you're bloody lost. Terrible thing. Yeah, but the Scotsman, Englishman, Irishman were lost in the desert. And they were trudging along there, and all of a sudden the Scotsman saw this thing shining, you know. And after that was one of these lamps. And he rubbed the lamp and the genie appeared. He knew it was a genie because she had light brown hair, you know. And she said, I'm going to grant each of you one wish. She said to the Scotsman, what's your wish? He said, well, it's very lonely here, said. I wish I was back in Edinburgh drinking a big pint. All of a sudden he went, he was away. He said to the Englishman, what about you? He said, well, it's very lonely. He said, I think it's lonely too. He said, well, I wish I was back in London drinking a pint. He's away. And there's the Irishman. He said, what about you, Paddy? And he said, well, he said, it's very lonely here. He said, I wish I had my 2 pals back. Nah, it's a game, isn't it? One thing I remember about... I'm cracking him and she's laying him out there. Listen, this... One thing I always remember about the war was the good old wartime songs, eh? I saw, see Alice Faye on the telly that day, eh? Alice Faye, what a singer she was, eh? She used to sing this lovely song. I was going to sing 2 hymns tonight, you know. Away in a manger and another way in a haystack, but this is... this is a good one. Stick them all in here and there, you know.
You'll never know just how much I miss you.
I was standing by the idea and a fella come up and said, would you like to buy a leopard skin coat? And I said, what's it like? He said, it's spotless.
You'll never know just how much I care.
What do you call a man with no legs? Neil. What do you call a girl with 1 leg? Eileen.
And if I tried, I still couldn't hide my love for you.
You hear about Irish Dracula? He bit Dolly Parton in the neck.
You want to know, or haven't I told you so? A million or more times.
As Dracula said to his school teacher, see you next period. Never a fella had no coke. He drank his Bacardi straight. I speak your name in my every prayer. What do you get when I cross a flea with a coo? A nitchy coo. What do you get when you cross an owl with a rooster? A cook that stays up all night. And if there's some other way to prove that I love you, I swear I don't know how. As an astrologer said to his wife, I can see Uranus. You'll never know if you don't know. Now, would you like to sing that with me? Come on, get your song and tell you. We'll go in. You'll never know just how much You'll never know just how much I care. And if I tried, I still couldn't hide my love for you. You ought to know, for haven't I told you so? A million or more times you went away and my heart went with you. I speak your name in my every prayer. And if there's some other way to prove that I love you, I swear I don't know how. You'll never know if you don't know. What a fantastic crowd you are tonight. You see the golf on the telly there, did you? The golf's good, isn't it, eh? Of course, I'm a weekend golfer, but getting a few holes during the week, like. I always go round in the low 70s. If it's any colder, I do good. I just missed a hole in one, but 5 strokes here last week. I was out last week, I only had 2 good balls that day. You know? And they stand a garden rake to do that. I got a hole in one and a big bruise in the other one. And this, see, my wife's a great golfer, very keen golfer. She belongs to 3 courses. As a matter of fact, she's an inter-course champion. Not so good in the fairway, but in the rough, she's a real old. I would tell you, I hit one beautiful drive last week, right down the middle of the fairway. I was at chuffs, you know. I shouted, "Whoa!" And this wee Jewish boy was crossing the fairway and the ball hit him right in the head. Oh, he was mad, you know. He said, "I'm going to sue you for £5,000. I said, but I shouted 4. He said, "I'll take it." So, okay. I was out playing with the wife last week, yeah. At golf. And she had a nice shot, and it was right in a bunker next to the green. And it was about that height, the bunker. You know, she couldn't see the flag. I said, "I'll stand at the flag and watch where the ball goes." And she had a beautiful shot right up there like that. And we're right down, right next to the hole. I said, "It's a lovely shot." She said, "How far is it for the hole?" I said, "About the length of my dingling." She said, "Just leave it, it might drop." Yeah. Oh. It's a great game, isn't it? You get a laugh for it, eh? Who's murdering? But I always get something for a wife for her birthday. I went into the chemist there to get something. I thought we anything different, you know. She's got all these eau de colognes and eau de this and eau de that, you know. He said, oh, I've got that new Negro perfume. I said, what's that called? He said, eau de doo-da-day. I said, no, I don't like that. I said, nothing. That smells. I said, no, I said, E.T. Lauder and all that. I don't like them. But I said, no, anything different. He said, well, we got stuff. Just come in last week, he said, bus cream. Well, that's, you know, I lifted my eyes up and said, what, bus cream? He said, yes. He says, it's a thing you massage into the breast. He said, we've got it in all colours. I said, never mind the colours, what flavours have you got? And I was... I said, what do you get, you know? I said, well, what? And there was a fella come in there and he said, I want some rat poison. The boy said, I haven't got any left. Have you tried boots? He said, I don't want to kick them to death. And this punk rocker come in, you know. Give it. He said, I want some peppermint. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want some peppermint. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He came and said, well, haven't you got peppermint? Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about some bell beans? Poop, poop, pa-doop. And he'd chemist come up and he said, don't talk to customers like that. The boy said, what do you say? He said, I'm lost for words. What do you say to a customer? He said, well, talk about the weather or something like that. I said, don't insult them, you know. Talk about the weather. And this fella came in and said, I want some sanitary towels for the wife. The boy said, it looks like it's going to be a dull weekend. Anyway. I went out there, I said, I don't like anything. I just thought I'll buy her a video. See, it's a new thing, like, you know, nice. You know what that fella wanted to buy a video? It was a blue one. Called, it was 3 in a bed, you know. And he bought it. It was Jockie Wilson playing Eric Bristow. That. Hey. I don't know. It was a toss-up, you know. Marty's, you get them all. That's it, you get these cannibals and all that, you know, the zombie flesh eaters. No, they're eating the arms and all that. You hear about that zombie come in for his work one night for the slaughterhouse, you know. And and he sat down at the table and his zombie wife come up with a plate. A big lump of meat on it and she put it down like that. He said, where's the vegetables? She said, they're not in for the school yet. That's, I don't know. So religion nowadays, that's, you know what I mean. And about 3 fellas who went to the monastery, joined the monastery, you know. And they met the chipmunk, like, the head man. He was going to make a monk of them, you know. And he said, 3 of you go into that room and take your clothes off, he said. And they went in there and they stripped, you know. And they brought in 3 wee bells. And guess where they hung them? Hung them on their dinglings like that. And he clapped his hand like that and a nude woman came in. And one wee bell went, ding-ling. He said, you're not eligible. He said, pick up your clothes and get out. And he bent down to pick up his clothes, and the other two bells went ding. It's just your luck, innit? It's just your luck, innit? You never know the minute, you know. There's a fella won £750,000 in the pool. Hey, just a minute. I've just paid you £70,000 for this car and no windscreen wipers. The boy says, no got windscreen wipers. You say, what? You say, what? You just press that button and the rain goes off. No, I know. People ask you to sing, you know. Sing Scotch songs and that. There's no new Scotch composers, that's the trouble, you know. I mean, to the likes of Tony Bennett, you know. If he'd been born in Edinburgh or somewhere, you know, it'd been good, you know. I left my heart in Craigentinny. I left my wig in Cowdenbeath. But it was at the Usher Hall. I really had a ball. I got sick and lost my teeth. Oh, good grief, my wooden leg came off while dancing. I did the twist and was bereft. When I get home to you, Aggie pretty, you will have to take what's left. See, I'm Tony Bennett, you know. And the people sing all over the world, you know. But all the lovely islands they've got and things like that, you know. We got nice islands too, you know. 'Twas on the Isle of Tiree that he met her, beneath the shade of an old chestnut tree. He knew somehow he would never forget her when they met on the Isle of Tiree. She knew that he wouldn't show any mercy and that her life never more would be dull. For she was a sweet little Jersey and he was a big Isabel. And they talk about all these places, these lovely cities they've got, eh? I mean, I was in Italy there, you know, and the traffic's bad in Italy. Oh, it's awfully bad. It took me 2 hours to get 6 inches into Florence. And this, it's awfully bad. I mean, I flew over there, you know. So I got on a plane there, and halfway across, the engine went on fire. And the pilot appeared with his parachute on. He said, don't panic. He said, I'm going for help. But they talk about these lovely cities they've got. We've got nice places too. What about Granton? Hey, a nice Granton, isn't it, eh? The last time I saw Granton, the memory lingers long. The gas gave off their usual pong. I walked along the golden sand. 'Twas just like paradise. The ozone from the sewage pipe brought tears into my eyes. I sat down on the sand there. I was a perfect nit. How could I know it was a place where little doggies sit? Give my regards to all people. Remember me to St. Andrew's Square. Tell all my friends in Old Trick Miller that I'm coming back someday. Tell them in the old time castle and let them know on Easter Road too. Give my regards to Ricky Town and tell them I'll be back there soon.
how I love you, my dear old doggy. I give the world to be among the folks in dear old doggy, that's for me and drink. Drink a pint of heavy, that's a very high. I love a cigar. The folks up north will see me no more. When I get back to doggy, take me back to doggy, take me right back home. Once more. Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hector Nicol.
Oh, I couldn't leave you now. You're really wrong. We were talking about luck there, you know. You've been an Irish paratrooper who joined the prostitute regiment. Eh? Signed up for 500 jumps. And anyway... you never know, do you? Never know, man. So sakes nowadays, you know. Can't get a job nowadays, that's the trouble, eh? My sister, she's got a dead-end job. She's a prostitute in a cul-de-sac. And my uncle, he's got no arms, you know. He's a gynecologist in a convent. He's in the protection racket, you know. Sells Durex to the nuns. And this... when she comes to the street where we live, you know, she's the street where we live. Sex Drive, it's called. What a place. There's a Nancy boy who lives at number 1. And he never goes without his working trousers on. All the sailors, they know him by the way that he walks down the street where we live. And at 21 lives a lesbian, wears a collar and a tie, and talks just like a man. Any way you turn, you can live and learn when you walk down the street where we live. And if you now want a night with Big Fanny, now's the time, 'cause the prices are down. And there lives a big Pakistani. They tell me that he's got the biggest one in town. We've got all the minks, Japanese and Chinks, and there's Africans and Indians and all the kinks. If you go at night, pull your drawers up tight. When you walk down the street where we live. Ladies and gentlemen, just remember the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. Remember, diarrhea waits for no man. Stick up for your father. Remember, he stuck up for you. Thanks very much. Cigarette life, isn't it? No, fuck do that guy. Listen, here. Thank you very much. That's marvelous, isn't it? As the fly said when it walked up the mirror, that's another way of looking at it. Or as a female flounder said to the male flounder, Not now, I've got a haddock. Or as the Boy Scout said to the Girl Guide, this is better than rubbing two sticks together. Or as a ram said when the barn went on fire, never mind. Let's get the flock out of here. Let the time go by. I don't care if I can be here on the street where we live. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Mr. Hector Nicol.
And we drum out in the evening in the valley of Glencoe. Let's get it now, swing along to a hiking song on the highway winding west, traveling mountain men and dragging men to meet the eyes we love.